Today, I want to talk a little bit about money and financial extravagance. And this week, Meek Mill and Cardi B, two rappers that you may have heard of. I assume that you have. They had a little bit of controversy because they were accused of basically flaunting their wealth. They were accused of being a little bit excessive and not showing proper respect to all the people who are struggling during the pandemic. And so, as a result of what kind of went down, the whole internet kind of went crazy, and there's a lot to talk about. And as you guys know, whenever white people start talking about black people, I think black people should start talking about black people. So later on tonight, as time goes on, I'm going to bring in members of our all-black panel, and they're going to kind of give a perspective that you won't see in mainstream media. So we're going to get started in just 1 second. So buckle up your seatbelt, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll get started now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So if you're black and intelligent, and also you must love the black community. If you love the black community, put a hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1 means that we put our community first, and we talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about. And if you're not black and intelligent, you may want to get out because this conversation is not going to work for you. Now, Cardi B and Meek Mill were in the media this week, and they there was a little bit of controversy surrounding these two. Cardi basically having pretty much this is kind of the same controversy. Cardi B got beat up on a little bit because she seemed to think that that this $88,000 purse that she was considering buying was something that she should flaunt on the internet, and that led people to accuse her of being insensitive during the pandemic and stuff like that. And then Meek Mill kind of had an issue because there was a video of him, and I'll show the video a little bit later, a video of him with a bunch of kids, basically where they're all asking for money, and Meek hands them $20 and says, y'all split it, and which caused a lot of controversy and a lot of crazy responses. And so we're going to just kind of talk about this, right? We're not jumping in with judgment. I know opinions on this issue vary across the board. There are people on one end who say, oh, these rappers are all crazy and stupid. What's wrong with them? And then there are people on the other side who say, what the hell's wrong with you, man? You need to be leaving these people alone. Don't get your hand out their pocket, man. Right? I've seen all that. I've seen all the responses, but I think it's worth talking about because I think that as a community, we should kind of process these things and decide where you stand, where you are, what you believe. So Meek Mill, Cardi B, let's jump into it. So the first panelist who's just stepped in is Jeff Lightsey Jr. Jeff Lightsey Jr. is part of the Black Boss Channel. The Black Boss Channel, theblackbosschannel.com, is a space where black men do all the talking and everybody else does the listening, because we should be listening to black men. And it's also a great place where they talk about sports, politics, wealth, everything that black men care about. All the way across the board, education to who won the Steelers game yesterday. And Jeff Lightsey Jr., a.k.a. Little Stephen A. Smith, is here. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. How about you yourself, Dr. Boyce?
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good, man. So let's hop into it. Okay, so let me just kind of lay the framework out for you, and then I'd like to get your initial thoughts. So let's start with Cardi. So Cardi B gets on Instagram, and Cardi is talking about this $88,000 purse that she was thinking about buying. Which is like, wow, that's pretty impressive. $88,000 for a purse. $88,000 for a car is a lot of money. Some people don't even spend $88,000 for a house, but she's talking about an $88,000 purse. And here's the thing: I'm not here to judge whether she has a right to have an $88,000 purse or not. But I'd be but she got a lot of pushback because she kind of went on the internet and said, "So what do y'all think? Should I get this $88,000 purse or not?" So what did you think when you saw it go down, Jeff?
So with Cardi's thing, I did see it. I kind of watched it live as it was happening. I saw it because it got retweeted on my timeline. I think somebody was bashing her or something. From what I saw, and so I went and did some, was just watching live, like I said, as it was happening. And all these people had these varying opinions. I had people that were supporting her saying, Cardi, it's your money, you do what you want. And you had a lot of folks that really wanted her to donate the money, right? Like, it's like, it's a pandemic. It's a very expensive purchase. It is, and you're talking about buying this thing during, like I said, during a global pandemic when a lot of people are hurting to eat, right? So my thing about Cardi is, and it's not just her, but anybody with money, whether it's, you or anybody that in our audience is listening or whatever, do what you want with your money. Like, do whatever you want to do with your money. Like, I mean, hey, if you want to go out and buy $88,000 bag or $88,000 car or $88,000 hat or whatever you want to do, like, by all means, do what you want to do. But when you're in a certain space, be ready for certain backlash, right? Like, be ready for it. Like, if you get on Twitter with Cardi B probably has, I don't know, 30, 20 million followers or whatever on Twitter. When you get on there and say you're considering buying an $88,000 bag during a global pandemic when 30 million Americans are on unemployment, expect some folks to feel a certain kind of way about it. Like, you have to. And here's the thing about Cardi. She was just awarded, I think we showed it in one of our other panels, how she was awarded like the artist of the year or the person of the year or whatever, right? And she was talking about how she likes to do civil justice and pop her, right? Like, so, but when you step into a civil justice lane, like when you decide to become that kind of person, when you decide to take on social justice issues, you're going to be looked at a certain different way, right? Like, you're not just a rapper anymore. You're not just an artist, right? Like, so we know rappers and entertainers or whatever buy big luxurious things and things that cost a big bunch of money that's overpriced or whatever they like giving their money to, these Italian foreign designers or whoever. So they act a certain type of way and they do a certain type of thing. But when you step into the social justice issues, when you're trying to speak for black people and you speak for the not just regular black folks, but the common black folk, then be ready for those black folks to bash back at you when you make expensive purchases. And I'm sure, but that's the thing. Like, anybody that's in business, anybody that makes any kind of money, even if it's like, if you make $15 an hour, right? Like, if you come out there and you flexing and flashing and doing whatever, but you also supposed to be like, representing our people, or not just representing our people on the entertainment front. We're talking about a social justice front, right? Like, you're supposed to be fighting for the Breonna Taylors and for the George Floyds and for these people. And not to say that you can't, like, you have every right to do that, right? But when you step into that lane, you're looked at differently. You're held to a different standard, right? Like, it just is what it is, no matter what you are. So you're going to get backlash when you do certain things, like talk about buying a $90,000 purse.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I got a question that I'd like to ask everybody. I'm gonna ask this actually on Twitter. Has anybody ever seen a purse that you think is even worth $88,000? Like, is there such a thing as an $88,000 purse? Let me pull up a picture of the purse again, because I'm gonna just tell you that is a. I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying to give myself a detox off of cussing so much. So I'm gonna change out a letter at a time. That is an $88,000 mind puck, as far as I'm concerned. Like anybody that convinces you that a purse is worth $88,000, I don't know. I'm not even hating on it, right? But I feel like, my grandma could make a purse like that. You give her like some wool and some cotton, she knows how to sew.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't really, what makes a purse worth $88,000? I think this is not even talking about Cardi B or judgmental on any level. This is just me talking about something called common sense. But I'm not hating. It's fine. It's her money. It is what it is. But I think that just the financial guy in me kind of feels the need to step in and ask you this very serious question. For everybody that's really like, yeah, she can do what she wants. Yeah, that's what's up. Oh, girl, I love that purse. Okay, cool. But has there ever been a purse invented in the history of all mankind that is worth $88,000? That's what do you think, Jeff? There's not. Any other clothing you can think of? Have you ever seen like a $72,000 hat or a $44,000 jacket? Like, what have you ever seen in your life that you can put on your body that is worth like tens of thousands of dollars? Jeff, what do you think?
Nothing is worth that much money unless it can make you double that. Right? Like, no one single item, right? Like, your house might be worth 88 grand, right? But then in 10 years, your house might be worth 200,000, right? Like you might buy it for 88, put 10 in it, and then you get a return on investment $100,000. A bag, the only reason why that purse, it's not because of its looks. It's not because of its, whatever is going on with it. The fur makes you fall right to sleep or something, or as soon as you stick your hand in it, you pull out $100. Like there's nothing special about this purse. It's because of the name. It is a Hermes Birkin bag purse, right? And it goes to our obsession with European luxury, right? Like our obsession, and not when I say our, I'm saying black folks. Right, like our obsession with luxury brands and European luxury. For whatever reason, at some point in time, we were told that stuff being made in Europe, as far as when it comes to fashion and high-end retail, is better from France, or it's better from Italy, or it's better from Paris, or whatever. So they have come and brainwashed us to think that because something is called a Birkin or Hermes or Prada, or pick your favorite Louis Vuitton or Gucci or whatever, this is the value is escalated times 100, not times 10, times 100. And that's why you get a bag that is worth $90,000. Like that makes no sense. And like I said, there's no magic formula for this bag. If you wear it, the men you love is not going to fall in love with you. It's not going to make you prettier. It's not going to enhance your attributes. Like it's not going to do anything. It's just literally a bag made by Hermes, and that's why it costs so much.
Well, what's funny? First of all, everybody, in case you just came in, we're on drboystv.com and the Black Boss channel talking about Cardi B, Meek Mill, and this whole issue of rappers and financial extravagance, and the blowback that they receive from the mostly from white folks, I think, and some black people too, about sort of flaunting their wealth during the pandemic. So Cardi goes on Twitter and shows this $88,000 purse. And everybody gives her a bunch of flack about it. Cardi then comes back and does some apologies. She does some stuff where she shows all the charity that she's donated to, etc. And so clearly that shows it affected her. That shows that she did feel some kind of connection or distress from what people were saying. And then at the end, she comes back and says that she bought the purse. And before we even get to Meek Mill, because that's another conversation too, because it all kind of ties in together. It ties into what is defined as appropriate behavior, or does anything go? It's just a matter of saying, who cares? How do people feel? I mean, how does somebody feel if I love Cardi and Meek and I'm struggling to pay the bills of my family? We're hungry, like we're physically hungry. We literally have no food, and I support you because I think your music is great. And then you ask me right in my face, hey, should I buy this $88,000 purse? And maybe deep down I'm thinking, well, man, there's a lot of things I could do with that $88,000. There's a lot of things I could do with $88. There's a lot of things I could do with $880. $88,000. It's unfathomable to a lot of people. And I think you can also understand some people's frustration there, right? Like, like imagine if you got a friend who's like right next to you. There's this funny movie I saw with Jack Black in it, where basically these two guys live across the street from each other and they both go to work together. They both have these regular jobs making like $0, and they drive raggedy ass cars and wear raggedy clothes. And one day, one of them comes up with this stupid invention, he called it poop spray, where he would spray on the poop and then it would just disappear, right? And so he became really rich. And while his friend's getting up and going to work every morning, he would see his other friend. His friend done quit his job. His friend, he said, "Man, I'm gonna keep it real. I want to stay right next to you. I'm not gonna change a thing." But his friend buys a horse, so he's got this big white pretty horse right across the street, and he builds this gigantic mansion right across the street. He's like, "I just want you to know, I'm never gonna change. We'll be friends forever." And his friend is just pissed. His friend's like, "Man, F you. Like I'm still in the struggle, and you're waving all that stuff in my face, like you're flaunting this in my face." So, is there any justification for those who say, "Look, we know you balling. We know you're Cardi B. We know that you got money. Just keep it to yourself." Is there any argument for that, or are people just being overly sensitive?
No, there definitely is, because the thing is, I think it kind of goes back to what I said at first. It's your money. You can do whatever you want, but just know that this comes with it, right? Like when you decide to be an entertainer or a public figure or whatever, you're subject to criticism. I mean, boys, I'm sure you can speak to it. Like you are in the public light because you have multiple platforms. You have multiple media platforms. So, but you're not on your multiple media platforms talking about buying a Porsche or telling the folks like, oh, I just went out and, you know what I'm saying? I just went out and spent $20,000 on whatever. You know what I mean? Like, because if you did, people be like, I mean, damn, boys, like, you know, like, okay, I get it, you got it, but dang, like, okay, we still coming, folks over here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what it is for in Cardi's in her inner like realm. Like,
man, I had somebody call me out because she literally said, she said that motherfucker, he got his teeth fixed. He got his teeth. I said, damn, I can't even go to the dentist. Now people tripping over. Like, I can't. What would you feel better if all my shit was like rotting out of my mouth? Like, would that make you happy? Like, you know, it was so funny. But you're right though. You're right. I mean, you know that, and that's the hard part, right? When you eat good and you're in a space where there's a lot of hungry people, then you got to be careful because they'll come and eat you.
Yes.
And it's a very difficult kind of thing. And I think that, you know, I think that there's a reason why, and this is really my advice to anybody out here that's listening, is like, if you start doing well and all your relatives are not doing well, eat, no matter how much you share, it'll never be enough. And so, you know, no matter how much you share 1,000, they're gonna want 2,000. You share 1 million, they're gonna want 2 million. You share 10 million, they're gonna want 20 million. So I think that I can understand I'm not even a big fan of like just what white supremacy did in terms of pulling Cardi B up above all the great black women that are out here. I did not like that, right? Like, I don't think that the most admired black women in America should be women who say, I do social justice and I pop my pussy, right? I think that's kind of like, that's not a good reflection of the black woman. No. But I can defend Cardi in the fact that it seems to me like she's a person that wants to be generous. She mentioned that she takes care of all these aunties, uncles, cousins, and everybody else. And I think that wears on you. You got people grabbing. Nobody's offering nothing. Nobody's showing up to help you. Everybody's showing up with a handout, and you're handing out stuff to everybody. You help 3,000 people, and then that 3,001 person is mad because you're exhausted and you have nothing else to give. So I think that's why a lot of rich people hide. What do you think about that?
No, that's too. And you have to remember, in her space and just any space, especially people with platforms, you're not going to be liked by everyone. Like, there's going to be someone, no matter how good you do, is going to hate you. So just try. Like, I think in some cases, you should just save yourself from being like, they're going to criticize you on dumb stuff, right? Like, no matter what you do, like you said, somebody criticized you for getting your teeth fixed, right? If you're LeBron James, you get criticized for starting a school. It's like, oh, he wants all the attention, so he started a school, and all his kids go to college for free. Like, what's wrong with LeBron? Like, no, like there's going to be some level of criticism. But I think you should also try sometimes to save yourself from unwanted criticism. If you want to be liked by everybody, then try not to put yourself out there for criticism. Like, you should know, if you're Cardi B, you up there with your phone and you say, I think I'm about buying a $90,000 handbag. What do you think is going to come from that? Like, do you think everybody's going to be like, oh, Cardi, do what you want. We love you. We're going to support. Like, no, there's going to be some people like, Cardi, you do realize we're in the middle of a pandemic. You do realize there's 30 million Americans that are on unemployment. You do realize, like, some folks can't even go to work right now. Like, you do realize that's happening outside. Like, you seem so disconnected from the same people that you want to be loved by. And that's what, like, some stuff, like I said, you're going to get unwarranted criticism for, like, whatever, right? But some of this is avoidable. That was avoidable. And when you want to be loved by everybody, which Cardi B seems like she genuinely does want to be loved by most people, like, then you got to be careful. Like, you got to be aware. You have to have better awareness of that. Like, if you really genuinely, like I think she does, want to be loved by as many people as possible, you have to have better awareness. You have to know that your main demographic, your following, most of your following are black folks. Most of your following are, and a lot of them, like I said, there's 30 million Americans because of unemployment. A lot of them can't afford Christmas gifts this year for whatever, for COVID and for whatever reasons going on. They can't afford to take, get their kids lunch or whatever. So when you talking about behind a $90,000 bag, like that, to me, like that's gonna rub some folks the wrong way.
Yeah. I think that's a tough one. I think that's a real tough one. And by the way, everybody, if you're watching, I'm speaking with Jeff Lightsey Jr. We're talking about Cardi B, Meek Mill, and basically what obligations celebrities and rappers even have to even care when people get upset that they're flaunting their wealth. You can follow Jeff, by the way, on social media at JLightsey7. Jeff does a lot of commentary every single day, especially if you love sports. He is literally one of the leading sports experts on the entire internet and very productive, and he knows his stuff. So if you like sports, all sports, it seems like, Jeff, I know you know a lot about football and basketball.
Yeah.
What other sports do you kind of talk about?
We dived into some boxing. We dived into the Mike Tyson, the Floyd Mayweather, Jake Paul. We do a lot of stuff. And then, like, I'm a black man, so I have opinions on black issues, right? So we talked about the decriminalization of marijuana and all that stuff that's going on in Congress. So we cover a lot over on the Black Boss channel. Just whatever comes to mind, I just pop up my computer and get to talking, and we interact. We answer comments, answer questions, and go live all the time.
Yeah. So everybody should check out Jeff on the blackbosschannel.com. He's really good. He's up there every day. And we're building black media. And we think that there aren't very many platforms where black men, like real authentic black men who are not, famous rappers or famous basketball or football players, actually get a chance to speak about issues that matter in the community. So that's why we have the Black Boss channel. So I hope you guys will subscribe. Also, wherever you are, hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell, and share. Just if you're on Facebook, Twitter, wherever, retweet, share, do something, because we're trying to grow black media, because we believe we should have our own media, our own ability to have our own conversation about this stuff, so we can provide the balance and nuance that white media doesn't provide. Like, so for white media, either the black person's the complete villain or they're the complete hero. Whereas in our space, we have the ability to look at a person in their entirety, in their whole humanity, and say, okay, this is what they did right, this is what they did wrong, or you messed up here, we still love you, or we used to love you, now we don't love you no more, whatever the case may be, right? So we need to pick our own heroes. That's why you need your own media, you need your own school. So follow the platforms, the blackbosschannel.com. That's our platform for black men. Okay, so let's dive into Meek Mill then. All right, so Meek Mill, did you follow what happened with Meek?
Yes, I saw everything that happened with Meek. Yes.
Yeah. So Meek had a little crazy situation with some kids involving like $20 and
some little Atlanta hustlers. By the way, those hustlers in Atlanta, like the young kids, I've been there recently, and I've driven past those guys. They want it, like, and they see you pull up. I mean, we was in a regular old car, and they like trying to sell their water, or trying to sell whatever. So I get it, they're hustling or whatever. But if you pull up in a Maybach or whatever Meek was in, trust me, they gonna definitely want a little more than $20. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So I want to play the video so you can kind of see what went down. I'd like to get everybody's thoughts on this. So Meek is out in his $400,000 Maybach Bentley, whatever the hell people drive to try to feel fancy and shit. Like that's I guess that's what people do, right? Instead of like having substance, everybody got to have flash. That's the world we live in. Whatever. All right, so he's driving by in his $400,000 car. There's some young dudes out here selling water, and let's just see how this goes down.
What is this support? Water hustle. But what is this support? Young black man, my mom big, bro. We out 7 water truck staff. We support y'all. My mom sold it, bro. We out here trying to. You can't blame me with your shit. I'm not gonna split it. What you say, gave him, bro? Don't put your hand in my car. Big bro. Let me one time, Meek. Hey, bro, money, man. Man, y'all gotta split that money, man. It's $20. That's a job. Yeah, bro. Let them know what zone you from. Zone 1. Zone 1. Real land, nigga.
Okay, so Jeff, break down what I just saw in this video.
So, like I said, if you ever go down to Atlanta, in every, like I was down by the Mercedes-Benz Stadium down in Atlanta, and at the lights, there's little kids. I mean, you see them, they're selling like waters. Us, it was Gatorades. They're just doing whatever to hustle, right? Like it's normally like $1 a bottle or whatever it is. And so obviously they see Meek Mill pull up in his Bentley or whatever, with the stars in the ceiling or whatever, $400,000 car, and he hands him $20. Well, first he asked him, like, what am I supporting? He's like, am I just supporting some hustlers? Am I supporting a football team? Like, what? I don't know if they answered or whatever. But then he hands him $20, and he's like, dude is like $20, like this is Meek Mill, like y'all on the internet with money, like what I'm saying, $20. He said y'all need to split that, like split. It's like 6. It normally I would tell you when I went, it's about 10 of them out there, right? Like it's 5 on one little median, 5 on the other median. So we're talking about 10 kids splitting $20. It ain't much of a come up when you see a famous rapper who talks about having all this money and all that kind of stuff. So they were kind of disappointed. Like, dang, Meek, are you gonna bless me? Like, what's going on? And he was like, yeah, that's a dub. Like, that's $20. But it's like $20. It's 10 of us out here. You basically just gave us $2 a piece, and you Meek Mill. So that's kind of what just took place in that video.
Okay. So here's the question that I have at the end of the day. First of all, I tell you how stupid I am. I was trying to remember, like, what's a dub? Wait, I don't know why I thought a dub was $100. I don't know why, right? I'm like, wait, that ain't a dub. But dub, like double, like dude, like French. Okay, I get right. So Meek is driving, and the dudes are hustling. They're trying to get the water. Meek gives him a dub. He says, y'all split that. And they're expecting more. They're like, okay, you're Meek Mill. Your car is like your car is worth more than like all of our parents' houses combined, right? Yes. Or your car is worth more than what our parents all make in a year put together, right? Yeah. So if you give us $20. Now, that's an interesting one, right? Because Meek doesn't have to do anything, right? He doesn't. Sure. Charity is voluntary by definition, and also we do understand, that the pressure can be heavy, right? We talked about that, right? With Cardi B, that when you are a celebrity, you got money, everybody wants something, it becomes difficult. Also, as you mentioned, in Atlanta, just like it is in other places. I remember when I went to Africa, I gave a lot when I was in Africa. I literally would empty my pockets every time I went out because there were so many kids that would just be in the hot sun, just hustling. I admired their hustle, and I had a heart for what they were dealing with. So I literally would just empty my pockets. And what would happen is that literally the fact that I was giving so much money away made it harder for me to get away.
Yeah, they want more. Yeah.
Like they're like, okay, we got one. We got a sucker here. We're going to get this dude, right? And it was real aggressive, right? Yeah,
so no, they like that. Yeah.
Yeah, on one hand, you admire it. On the other hand, you're like, man, I got to shut this down, know? And so it seems like that's what Meek was dealing with. Now, here's a question I want to ask, though. Do you think that he could be challenged, though, to kind of say, yeah, we get it. We know about the pressure, but it was $20. Like, do you think that the kids might have had a point that, look, you're driving this $400,000 car. We know that there's probably some nerdy white boy with a startup company where you've invested $10 million along with Jay-Z because they write fat checks to white people. Let's keep it on. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. They will write big checks to white people and their little startup businesses, right? That's how they get paid. So when they get to the black community and it's not a big check, it becomes a dub.
No.
What do you think about that?
Well, what I will say is the kids in Atlanta are aggressive. I want to share my story. When I was with my girlfriend and she gave them, she bought like 2 waters or 2 Gatorades or whatever. And another kid came on because I was riding passenger. He came to my window, was like, "What you got for me?" I'm like, "Hold on, dog. She just paid, buddy. Like back up." So they are aggressive. I will say that. But the second thing, I think the biggest problem I had with Meek, it's not even just the fact that he gave him $20 and like you said, it's your money. You do what you want with it. It's the fact, and it kind of goes with Cardi. It's the fact that he recorded it, right? Like everybody, you don't have to record everything. Like what was the point of that? Like what did you think? Just saying with Cardi tweeting about a $90,000 bag. Meek, what did you think was gonna come about you giving a group of kids $20 and you put it on the internet? Like, did nobody put a gun in your head, tell you to, hey, show that you giving $20 to a bunch of young hustlers? Like, no, just how about you give you $20, tell them, whatever you feel, the same thing. You can have the same interaction. We'd never know about it. Just like Cardi tweeting about the bag, we'd never know about it. You just bought the bag and say, hey, look at my new bag or whatever. But it's the age of social media and our celebrities' obsession with getting folks' attention and loving it and obsessing over it. But then, like you got to face the criticism. Like some of it, like I said, sometimes it's okay to keep things to yourself, right? Like so in Meek's case, you riding around in a $400,000, $500,000 car, and you giving a group of young hustlers $20 when you probably have $10,000 in your pocket. Because it's all that is also on social media. You show off your money. Like it's not like he don't show it off, and we don't know how much Meek has. Like we know Meek got it, right? And so when you record it and talk about how you only gave these kids $20, then you're letting yourself open season. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be people that are going to be very critical and very harsh of what you're doing.
Wow, I think that is that's a powerful point. And literally while you were talking, I was Jeff challenges me on my research game because he always shows up with all the facts and all the information. He's a very highly trained journalist. He went to Western Kentucky University, which I know has a great journalism school. And so what I did was I wanted to match his high quality research. So I did a Google search, which we know that's the essence of high quality
research. It tell you a lot. With Google search will tell you a whole lot about whatever you want to know.
It really can. And let me tell you what I searched, man. You want to know what I searched?
What was that?
I searched for Meek Mill and money. So now keep in mind, Meek gave these kids a dub, right? Mm-hmm. The young hustlers got a dub. Take your dub and just get out of my face. He put it on the internet, right? Yeah. Which right there, that should be an intellectual property conversation in the sense that rappers can't become famous without getting hood credibility, right? Rappers make billions as a collective. Billions. Are y'all hearing me? Rappers make billions, and white record labels, by the way, white record labels make billions by capturing the hood. You ever see those videos where rappers rapping with a bunch of like little kids behind them that look like they got their clothes at Walmart? You know, I'm not making fun of them, but I'm serious. Like somebody might be on a bike, it'd be a grown man on the bike, and that that's like how they get their credibility, right?
The essence of the trap, like it's the essence of the trap. It's the essence of authenticity of what's going on. Like talking about what's happening where I'm from and the neighborhood that I grew up in. That's the essence of rap. That's the essence of hip hop, and that's what sells, right? Like authenticity, or even if it don't even have to be real. It could be make believe, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're just a good storyteller. You know what I'm saying? Like you were able to make a song that sounds good, and even if it's fake, you could be from the whitest of white suburban neighborhood, but if you sound like you from that life or you're about that life, it's gonna sell.
Wow, and that's a good point. So I think there really is, as critical thinkers, because that's what we are here. We're not just here to talk. We're not here to just observe and follow along. I want you to have your own opinion, but I want you to just kind of consider or reconsider just how many times you've seen videos of rappers who are super clean, wearing the freshest clothes, European clothes, by the way, not black owned, not black made, but European clothes with a Bentley, like right in the hood. Like visualize that, like you in the poorest part of the hood, and you got a Bentley. And that somehow is a good thing. Like we think that that's a wonderful thing. Like, oh, you're repping the hood, you're repping the hood. No, you're actually profiting from the hood, because without the hood, you have no credibility. I remember I spoke to the CEO of the Jordan brand one time, and I remember how I never forgot how he mentioned that the Jordan brand, along with a lot of other brands, not just Jordan, Beats by Dre, all that. I also met the guy who invented the Beats by Dre headphones. And one of the things I remember is gaining this understanding that they use the urban black male in particular, like the black kid in the hood who is selling water on the corner, or the 16-year-old black boy, as like a template, as a prototype that allows them to influence the world. Like hood culture influences the whole world, and they make $1 trillion off of that. Like, so black folks just have to kind of be aware of how that game is played. So let me just show you. I did a Google search on Meek Mill and money, and let me show you what came up. Now, mind you, keep this in mind as you think about the dub that he handed those kids. And I'm not dissing Meek at all. This is not a diss at all. And we're not here to diss people. We're here to point out facts. So here are pictures of Meek. There's an image of Meek with on a private jet with a big bunch of money. Another one where he's using money as like a telephone. I don't know where the hell that came from. Another one where he's got a big stack of dollar bills. Like I don't know, like maybe he could have gave that to the kids instead of the dub. Like, I don't know, because he's using it as a telephone. So that obviously it must mean he has extra money around. Here's another one of Meek with using this. I don't know. I guess that's a phone or something. And here's another one right here. I like this one. This is one where he's asleep with a bunch of money next to him. And if you go down, I mean, you see this, right? You see all of this, and I'm trying to figure out, like, when we celebrate that, like what are we really celebrating? Like, what are we really, happy about or proud of? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, so the kids see all of this.
They see it.
The kids going home. A lot of these kids, let's be real. A lot of these kids might be going home to a struggling single mama. Maybe he's selling that water so that his mama can pay bills. You never know. Right. And the other kid, the last part, the kid where he had the money and he's showing the money, what's he doing? He's imitating the rappers.
Meek.
He's imitating Meek, right? He's trying to be like Meek. So at what point do we as men and as adults look back at that and say, there's something wrong with this picture, that this picture has to be adjusted? What do you think, Jeff?
Well, the biggest thing, like I said, like you touched on, Meek, when you show that kind of money, you show that kind of stuff, those kids see that. Right, like the kids know when you pull up and hand them $20, they can go Google Meek Mill money, and see you with the money phone, right? And it'd be like, damn, this dude just gave me $20, and I see him on several different pictures. That wasn't just one day with the same stack of money. Those were several different pictures over several years, right? With all this money. And so what that money does, and I'll tell you this because I'm a fan of Meek Mill. And so I see his social media posting stuff, and a lot of what he says on Instagram and on social media, when he posts money and posts the private jets and posts the fancy cars and stuff, he says for motivational purposes only, right? Like that is a big hashtag of his, for motivational purposes only. And so what I think it does, what it's supposed to do, what I think his goal is to every black boy in America, every black kid in America, any person from the streets or from the suburbs or whatever, that you can have this too. Like if you work hard like I did, and you do what you're supposed to do, whether that's get good grades, start a business, do whatever you're supposed to do, you can have this as well. And I think that's that's why he's doing it. Like that is his purpose of showing off his money, showing off his wealth, showing off the the fancy cars and his luxurious lifestyle. It's for motivational purposes only. And for whatever direction you lean on that is how it falls.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Jeff. Jeff Lightsey Jr. I'm gonna show you this picture. I'm gonna pick this particular one. If I'm a kid in the hood and I'm struggling, right, and I don't have a pot to piss in, and I see that on the internet, I'm just curious. I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm really asking this question openly, without any judgment. I'm trying to evaluate this. What does that picture motivate me to do? Like, what does that say to me? Does that say, grow up and become a lawyer or a doctor? Does that say, like what does that really say? I don't know. I'd be curious to know like what, because you process it, right?
Yeah.
First of all, we don't even know, rappers pretend so much. You never know which money's theirs and which one's not their money, right? That's the first thing. But then second of all, there's the culture. There's a culture of being extravagant, right? That's kind of something somebody created. And then third, Meek didn't really, he's a good rapper, but he got that because a white man signed him to a record label, I'm sure. And I guess he works with Jay-Z now, but usually there's like a white guy somewhere in the picture somewhere, right? In the background, in the backdrop, or maybe your label is owned by their label. So you pretend to have a label, but really they're the ones who are bankrolling all of this. So it really comes, because it's really, truth be told, if white people decided, we're done with Meek Mill, we're going to cancel you, you'll never make money again, he will be done. Like, and that's really something I think we got to think about in terms of what it means for a black man to have power. If you're in a position where a white man can push a button and end your whole career, just end you, make you disappear, do you really have power, or is that all kind of an act? So what does that really motivate me to do if I'm 12 years old, if I see that picture?
Well, initially, just without, like I said, someone at 25 can kind of process what Meek means by for motivational purposes only. Like I can get it. Like it doesn't mean one lane only. Like it means like, okay, if I work hard and do what I'm supposed to do, I can make money like Meek. I can be able to have my own money phone or whatever. But I think at 12 or even younger, if you're on Instagram or whatever, and you see that, you think, man, I got to rap to do that. You know what I'm saying? I got to become a rapper, and so then you go listen to Meek and hear what Meek's talking about. And we know what's in modern day rap music by most artists, Meek Mill included. It's about killing and selling drugs and getting all the women and buying all the fancy cars. So we know that's what's in rap music, and Meek is not excluded. Like he is included in that same kind of group. So I think that's what motivates. So that's the thing. It motivates the next up and coming rapper. So what do they rap about? Well, they rap about the same thing Meek Mill did, because guess what? Meek Mill had the money. So I want the same money that Meek Mill got. And so I talk about the same things, and it's a revolving door of music that stimulates the next generation of kid that gets their same money the same way, and that keeps us almost in the same cycle. And that's what, like I said, someone older like me can kind of process what Meek is going for by saying for motivational purposes only. You work hard like I did, you can get money like I do. But someone who's 12, or someone who's younger, or someone from the hood, or someone that thinks like, okay, I got to make it musically because that's what Meek did, because he was in the same position I was in when we were both young, then they might go out and try to do that. Or, and I hate to say this, or it might motivate someone to say, man, I'll rob Meek Mill. He's showing off and I don't got nothing. I'll go take his. If I can't make it because I can't rap, I can't dance, I'm not an entertainer, and I don't believe in myself, this education system has failed me or whatever, then I'll go take his. And that's why you see some of these guys end up getting shot and killed. Rappers in particular, getting shot and killed and robbed or whatever's taking place. Rappers, more so than any other group of entertainers, are the ones that get killed, shot, and killed the most. And it's because of the lyrics that they put out, the lifestyle that they live, in the flexing and flossing that takes place within the rap community. You don't see, for the most part, you don't see high-end actors, right? Like I remember Vigilante was saying, movies influence just like music. It's not the same because you don't see high-end actors getting killed. Denzel Washington's 60, right? He's 60 years old. There's not a whole lot of rappers that rap about the same stuff that Meek Mill and all this stuff that make it to 60, right? Like that, it just is what it is. And so that is because of the lifestyle and the image that they must upkeep and the lifestyle that they live ultimately leads a lot of times to their own downfall. Boys, I think.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, man. Everybody, I'm speaking to Jeff Licey Jr. Jeff Licey Jr. is from the Black Boss Channel, theblackbosschannel.com. And also, by the way, a lot of you are watching on different platforms, maybe watching on Financial Juneteenth TV. If you could, right quick, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button wherever you are. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. Also, you can text the word BOYCE to 31996. If you want to be notified when we go live, text BOYCE to 31996. And make sure you subscribe to something. We're building Black-owned media so we can have intelligent Black conversations. So let me just dive into that then. When you think about what happened with Cardi B this week, and then you think about what happened to Meek Mill. So Cardi B's flaunting the $88,000 purse, and people give her backlash on it. I don't care so much about the backlash because I tend to be in the category of saying, you know what, I'm okay with letting people live as long as how you live doesn't harm other people. So when it comes to Cardi B, I'm going to step in when I say, look, man, look, lady, why are you trying to convince, my 10-year-old daughter that she should go sell her coochie for a Gucci bag? Like that's not cool. Right. So I have to have talks with my kids and help them understand like this is not the way to go. But a lot of little girls don't have daddies in the house to have that conversation with them. And then maybe they see somebody, they see the adults around them twerking to that music. So they think that that's cool. They think that's the way to go. And Cardi, as well as I, we both agree. We both know that stripper life ain't the life that you want little Black girls to aim for. So stop glorifying that nonsense. Right. That's ridiculous. Now with Meek, you had the whole thing with him and the kids and handing out the dub saying y'all split it. But then on Instagram, the child goes to Instagram. He sees you holding up literally a stack of hundreds like this as a telephone. I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be like, nah, man, like you need to really invest in me and invest in my future. Don't just put up a picture for motivational purposes. How about you invest in my little water business for motivational purposes? How about that? How about you? I'm not telling Meek what to do now. It's again, I'm in the whole live and let live. I voted libertarian, by the way, which kind of means I kind of believe in freedom. Like, do what you want, Meek. But seriously, maybe a better way to kind of engage with those young guys is to identify the fact that the hustler spirit is $1 billion energy. Like that's $1 billion energy that is the same energy that Elon Musk used to build Tesla and become worth $100 billion, or Jeff Bezos used to build Amazon, right? The question is, who's investing in our versions of our little Elon Musks, our little Jeff Bezoses? When I see those guys out there, those kids, 13, 14 years old, you've got very little guidance from the OGs around you, right? All you get from older guys is you get a dub, right? If they see you selling water, they'll hand you a dub as they drive by in their $400,000 car. You see them on Instagram as they are showing you how much money they made rapping, even though we know that there's not enough jobs available in the rap industry to employ every Black man in America. Seriously, they don't have enough jobs for all of y'all. We have an oversupply of 40-year-old rappers. Can we agree on that? We have flooded the market with rappers. There ain't enough room for all of y'all, right? So it's crazy, right? So the question becomes, when you see those little kids and those kids with all this potential, and you're supposed to be Black, right? Where do we invest in those kids the same way we invest in the white boy in Silicon Valley who's got the little startup? Think about this. Do you know how many times these rappers from the street, from the hood, will spend more time with a little nerdy white boy who went to Duke, who created a startup in Silicon Valley, and they'll write bigger checks for that than they do like when they come back to the hood. And it doesn't mean that they're sellouts. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. This might just be a matter of guidance, a matter of saying, let's really process this. Let's have some economic consciousness here and think about the disparity here. The disparity isn't just with what white people do. Sometimes the disparity is what Black people do because white people told them that that's what they're supposed to do. right? A lot of our athletes ignored the black community because their coaches would say, well, you don't want to get involved with all those protesting and everything because you need to show, get on the field, just play, just don't do no talking, just play. Well, LeBron broke that mold. LeBron said, no, I'm not going to shut up and dribble. I have a greater obligation. Well, the same thing might be true with rappers. What is your obligation? What is your goal? Is your goal to just roll through the hood in your Maybach and hand out a dub? Or is your goal to say, I'm going to do what I can to see if we can transform the hood by taking all this amazing energy? I mean, people understand when you see an 11-year-old kid hustling in 90-degree heat, passing water and selling more assertively than an adult, that is a billionaire, millionaire mindset in the making. Let's nurture that. You can't just run past the kids and be like, get your hands off my car, you little dusty. Like you don't do that. You got to say, okay, let me go ahead and really help you accelerate this thing because you're showing the type of potential. The streets have hardened you and molded you into somebody who has a tremendous amount of ability. And I don't want you to end up in jail like they did with the rest of our soldiers with the Biden crime bill. Give me your thoughts on what I just said. I don't even have a question. I just want to know your thoughts.
No, I agree with that because, like you said, I mean, I can tell you straight up, the folks that want money, the hustlers are the ones that's going out there selling that water. It ain't regular folks. It ain't folks who grew up this privilege that just think like, oh, they don't think of money. Those little boys out there are out there hustling because they want money. They want to live a certain type of way. They want to help themselves out. They want to help their family out. And that's why you out there selling water, because that kind of lifestyle, the hand-to-hand sale, wait, 1,000,001 people, 100 people will tell you no before you get a yes, right? Like, so and they're aggressive. Like I said, I've been in Atlanta. The folks are aggressive down there. But like you said, that is a mindset that isn't instilled in everybody. That is a mindset that everybody don't have. That is a mindset that can lead to you making a bunch of money or starting a very good business or being a very good, employee, if that's what your desire is, to help and contribute to certain styles of business. And I think, like you said, Meek or so whoever should be able to nurture that and help them in their journey of becoming what they see on TV and becoming a successful person. And you don't have to have a money phone to be successful. I mean, we all know that there's different levels of success. There's different definitions of success. But you can, help them folks out, not just put $20 in their pocket between, $20 split between 10 kids and help them get to where they're trying to go. And that's why I think can take place. And like I said, it goes back to, even if you don't want to give out your money, because you are Meek Mill, that is money you deserve, that is money you earn, you don't got to record it, man. Everything don't need to be on social media. And I don't know what in the hell you thought you was going, what kind of, clout you was gonna get from handing 10 kids $20 and telling them to split it. I don't know what in the world you thought was gonna cover that, except for hate or backlash or whatever. Like, if you get 10 kids while you got pictures all over the internet with money phones and private jets and fancy cars, and you riding around in a Porsche or Maybach, I don't know what you thought was gonna happen when you tell 10 kids to split it up. I don't know. Like, I have no idea what was going on in that thought process.
Well, by the way, everybody, I'm talking to Jeff Lightsey Jr. from the Black Boss Channel. We're talking about Meek Mill, Cardi B, and what obligation rappers even have to even care about the suffering of poor people. What obligation do they have when it comes to money? Maybe they have no obligation. Maybe you think that they should do more. It's totally up to you. We don't care what your opinion is, as long as you allow other people to have freedom of expression. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also, Jeff is at JLightsey7, so you should follow Jeff online. He's very, very good in the area of sports and just social commentary in general. And so if you want to hear from a smart young brother, go follow JLightsey7 on all social media platforms. And also, those of you who want to actually implement agendas in your own family that'll make your life better off, we have a bunch of free resources at theallblackagenda.com. Theallblackagenda.com. We have things like the $5 a day investment plan. We put a link to the homie Ice Cube's contract with Black America, which is very well done, by the way. Ice Cube did a great job with that. And that to me, I will put that in the category, not to put Ice Cube on a pedestal to say other rappers are not doing what they're doing. But what I like about that is, there's a difference between me saying I want to motivate you by showing you how well I'm doing versus saying I'm going to motivate you by showing you that I care about how well you're doing, right? That I really am invested in your life, that I really want to know how I can use my power to truly invest in the hood. And here's another point here. This is a subtle point. People don't pick up on this. But if you notice, when Cardi or whoever, when they're talking about white people and things they do with white people, it's business. They do grown-up business with white people. They make investments with white people. They invest in those little tech startups started by the nerdy white boys in Silicon Valley. They do business with Apple and Universal Music and everything else. They're doing business, big boy grown folk business with white folks. With black people, it's the conversation shifts to charity. It shifts to here, I'm gonna hand you a dub, or here I made donations to the such and such, right? And people have to understand how unempowering that language is, because basically what you're saying is that with the white community, I do grown-up stuff, right? We're economically mature. We do big multi-million-dollar deals. But when it comes to black people, I just hand them a couple dollars here and there. I throw them a couple chicken scraps, just something so they can get by, to show them that I have a heart. When really it should be the other way around. I personally think that when you talk about investing, I have yet really, actually, I can't think of any artist I know of who is really making substantial multi-million, multi-billion-dollar investments directly in the hood. And it's not even really criticizing. It's really a challenge. So I would be curious to see, excuse me, if you're talking about bossing up, like if you're on your private jet with a big telephone made out of money, okay, you're a boss. All right. Well, you know what bosses do? Bosses make boss moves. A boss move is to say that I injected $1 billion into the south side of Chicago, and now I can point to 10,000 people that not 4 or 5, not 3 cousins and 2 uncles and an auntie, but 10,000 black people that now have jobs and businesses in my old neighborhood because I am successful. And it happens. And you can speak to this, man. Manny Pacquiao. If I'm not mistaken, you can help me fill in the void on this, because you know more about boxing than I do, Jeff. But didn't Manny Pacquiao, he did some major shit back in his home community,
Philippines, right? Yeah. So Manny Pacquiao is still a senator over. He's a senator actually over in the Philippines. But what he did was, like you said, he came over. He's a talented boxer, right? All the money in boxing is in the United States. So he made hundreds of millions of dollars in boxing in the United States, and went back over to the Philippines and got everybody right. You know what I'm saying? He got his hometown right. Yeah, America is where the money's at, but America's not what I want to be at. America's where I'm going to earn my check, get what I need to get, and get out. You know what I'm saying? Pacquiao's actually still fighting because he's given so much money away, and some of it, he's been in some trouble a little bit, but he has donated a bunch of money and invested in his part of the Philippines to make sure that everybody can eat.
And you know what? And the interesting thing too is, and here's some images of Pacquiao. I remember hearing about him building that housing complex or something, where all these people now have homes because Manny built these houses. And you look at that, right? And here's the thing, right? A lot of times, I would argue that kind of stuff happens because the celebrities they have a certain expectation on them. Dr. Claude Anderson talks about codes of conduct that you expect, you expect that when people, if you're Jewish and you are Jewish and you go out and you make $1 billion off of something that the Jewish community gives you, you're expected to come back and dump a bunch of that money back into that community. You can't just say, well, I'm gonna throw you a dub and that's it. Get your little dusty butt off me, keep your hands off my car. You're expected to really come back and have a substantial role in the development of that community. And I wonder why black people have a hard time understanding that. I think a lot of it, man, is low self-esteem. I really think that we are white supremacists. I believe that our people don't deserve the best. I believe that we think that we should be suffering. We're used to suffering. We're good at suffering and surviving suffering. So we kind of see it as okay that there are people who come out of the hood, who use the branding of the hood in order to go out to the world and make a bunch of money. And we really don't even feel like that person owes anything to anybody but themselves and Gucci. Maybe they can go spend money at Gucci and Louis. There's probably literally entertainers who spend more money on luxury items than they invest in their own people. I kind of wonder if that's the ethic that we should have as a community.
Well, that's what you're taught, though. Think about when you're very young, especially if you grew up in the inner city or you grew up in some kind of housing project or whatever. You're told to get your money and get out, right? You're not told to get your money and invest. You're told to get your money so you can get out of here, so you don't have to be where I'm at, so you can live a better lifestyle than me. So you get your money, you move to the suburban neighborhoods or whatever. You send your kids to private schools, and then that. Your hood is still the same. Your people are still the same. All them folks that you left behind are still the same. They're not in a better spot than they were, right? Even though one of their own made it out, the place where they came from is still the same because the guy made it out and never looked back. He ran away. He ran as far as he could, and that's what that's the cycle of the black community, right? Like that's what we're always taught. I mean, I know for a fact that I was taught from a very young age that you make your money, especially if you're from the inner city. I was from West End Louisville. You make your money, you do what you're supposed to do, and you move out. But that was one thing I know my mom was so adamant about never leaving West End Louisville because there's too many folks that leave and just turn their back on the community. And then they just forget where they come from. And so therefore the community never gets better. It stays the same. And sometimes it gets worse because one of your biggest and best, brightest minds have moved out and now that's gone. That little piece of the brightness or one of the brightest that you ever had, he didn't inspire others to become bright. He just left them. He left them in the dust. And that's what happens in a lot of black communities.
Okay, well, you know what? I saw a comment and I saw somebody that said, Jamal said, if you put in the work, you have the right to flaunt whatever you want. If you want to flaunt, then you should put in the work too. And I think that's a little bit of a myth too. I think that we have this perception that rich rappers put in more work than other people. And let's just keep it 100. Again, a lot of times what the people that you define to be successful black people are simply black people who were selected by white people. There are very hardworking black people, very intelligent, very capable black people who were actually rejected by white people because they were trying to be too black. They were trying to help the black community too much. Politicians that couldn't get elected because they really, really cared about the black community. And you look at those individuals as failures. So a lot of times you look at the failures as successes and the successes as failures. And it should actually be the other way around. The people that really, I think, and it's going to take a while to get there. I think the people that we should really be celebrating the most are the people that are really in there, really putting in work. So when you talk about Jamal, like I saw coming from a guy named Jamal in here, if you talk about what it means to put in work, it's not just what work you put in, it's where are you putting in work, right? It ain't just the what, it's the where. China does this actually. China does not care how successful you are if you ain't doing nothing for China. That they have a China first philosophy. They are very good at powernomics. They take care of China first, period. Right. And that's why they have economic domination throughout the world, because they made it clear, like, look, we don't care if you become a great scientist and you leave and go to the United States and you're at Harvard or MIT and you're doing great work for the Americans, then who cares what you're doing? You're not helping anybody. It's like you're doing nothing. Right. But if you come back to China now and you're doing things back in your old hood and you're helping China do better, then we will celebrate you. But we're not going to celebrate you just because you're celebrated by our enemy. Like, you being celebrated by our enemy does not mean we're going to celebrate you. Black people, on the other hand, we celebrate people who are celebrated by our enemy. And then we wonder why our enemies dominate us so well. Process that. Are you guys hearing me? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. You celebrate people more if they are celebrated by your enemy. If your enemy is celebrating that person, then why are you celebrating that person too? And then acting surprised when you're headed straight for self-destruction. Go ahead, Jeff. I'll let you have a word on this. Give me your thought.
That reminds me, because like you said, things like the Oscars or the Emmys or the the Grammys or whatever, like that is a stamp of approval. Like, that is the celebration that you're talking about as far as entertainment goes. But and people get so mad, like black artists or black actors or black whatever it is, get so pissed, right, when they're not nominated for a Grammy, or they lose out on an Emmy, or they lose out on an Oscar. But that is that stamp of approval by by the white people, and that is it. A lot of folks are controlled by that, right? Like, it pisses them off to go and bash everybody or bash whatever entertainment that you're in. It's like, well, that don't mean you're a bad whatever you do. Like, just because you didn't get an Oscar or just because you weren't nominated for a Grammy don't mean that you're not the best at what you do. But like you said, a lot of folks need that validation from white folks to feel like they've accomplished something. And that's why I think that they, the same thing that happens to the little boy in the hood that becomes a genius or whatever and becomes very successful, and he moves out to the suburbs. Why does he move out to the suburbs? Because for some reason, even though he just grew up in that same environment, he's told that environment is bad. That's where the bad people live. That's where you're going to get robbed. That's where these people are jealous of you. They want all your stuff. And that's not true. That is not true. Like, because you were that same kid. Did you feel that way when you were coming up? Right? Like, did you want to go out and rob and steal and do all that? No, you wanted to work hard too. And so you could be the person that inspires a kid that was just like you. You go back, and instead of just one of y'all making it, say I have a graduating class or out of a neighborhood or whatever, it could be 10 of y'all to make it, or 20 and 30, and you continue to pass it on. But you're told from a young age grow up, get your money, get your awards validated by the white folks, and then move on. Send your kid to private schools. Send your kids instead of public schools, send your kid to private schools, live in the suburbs, and that's how you live a good life. And that's just not true. That's just not true at all.
Well, you know what they say, being next to whiteliness is being next to godliness. Like we really want to be next to that man. Like we really think that being next to that our kid going to school next to a white kid makes them smarter. Like that was the whole foundation, the whole principle of things like Brown versus Board of Education, that they literally felt that a black child could not be educated if they were not in class with a white child, right? And so a lot of black folks kind of get into that mindset that says, I want to get away from my own and I want to get, closer to everybody else because you don't love yourself, right? It's just self-love. That's really what a lot of it boils down to. So let's say this. I think we can walk away with this conclusion. I don't think that Cardi B or Meek Mill have to do anything that we say, and I'm not here to in any way bash them. I know black folks love to protect their heroes. That's one thing that's really funny is we will fight like hell to protect somebody who don't give a damn about us. But again, I understand it comes from your low self-esteem. It comes from the fact that you don't feel like you have the right to have anything going on. So you stand up for somebody because they made a good song or because they twerk really well. But what I would say is that I want you to care about you. I want you to kind of decide what your values should be and what people you should look up to and what your criterion should be. So I want to say thank you to Jeff Lightsey Jr. At the Black Boss Channel, theblackbosschannel.com. And his handles on social media, JLightsey7. You can follow him at JLightsey7 all over the place. So make sure you go follow Jeff Lightsey Jr. Make sure you subscribe to the blackbosschannel.com. That is a platform where black men do all the commentary on that platform because we want to make sure black men have a voice. So if you are a black man or you want to hear from black men, which we got a lot of smart brothers over there like Jeff, go check it out. Theblackbosschannel.com. We want black men to be bosses. We believe black men are kings. We believe black men have to just ignite their great natural greatness, and that's what we're seeking to do. So thank you guys. We appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button on your way out. Thanks a lot, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. And we'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Peace.